lives. Does it need to say who's casting?
All right, so let's talk about what you guys came up with. And we are officially live streaming on YouTube right now, so keep the very personal type embarrassing stories to yourself. So what did you guys come up with for things in common with everybody in the room?
All wearing clothes.
Thank goodness. We are all wearing clothes. Good.
We all have a 4 p.m. class.
Yep, you all have a 4 p.m. class.
We're interested in biology.
Yep, interested in biology or some sort of healthcare career. What else? I heard two things. We have eyes.
2 eyes.
2 eyes. Did you do a quick check to make sure? What was the one over here?
All wearing coats.
All wearing coats? No, I might be wearing coats. Got a t-shirt over there. How about things that you might put on a resume that we would all have?
High school diploma.
High school diploma, yep. We can all speak English to varying levels. Didn't say anything about your ability to write in English. We'll see from your essays. What else?
We're all Rocky students.
You're all Rocky students. You probably all end up with a Rocky degree.
We're all living in Montana right now.
Yep, you're currently living in Montana. So some of you are Montana residents. Some of you aren't Montana residents, but you live in Montana at this moment. You're going to a Montana school, which is a private school. Anything else you can think of? Any other appropriate things you can think of? Craig cracked himself up with whatever he was thinking about.
We're all probably pretty smart and bright.
Yeah, you all made it to college, right? Yeah, so you had a minimum high school GPA, a minimum ACT score that allowed you to get into the school, right? Any other ideas? It's important to start thinking about these things because a lot of your lines on your resumes are going to be identical, especially if you're in the same program as somebody else. So where you set yourselves apart are things like your extracurricular activities, things that are personal about your life. So how about some unique things?
Business.
Craig owns his own business. I don't own my own business. Anyone else own their own business? All right. So you're coming from a completely different perspective of everybody else in this room.
I've worked with cadavers before.
Oh, well, I teach anatomy and physiology, so I do that a lot. And we've got 2 anatomy and physiology students over here. But that narrows it down quite a bit.
I have 3 kids.
3 kids. Anyone else? 3 kids? I just have the 1. So being a parent, another thing that makes your perspective unique, especially if you're an undergrad student that's trying to balance your parenting activities with your school activities.
I have a President's Award for Community Outreach.
President's Award for Community Outreach. Anyone else have a President's Award for Community Outreach? That's a good one. It shows that you care about your community, that you've spent time doing that sort of thing. Was everyone able to think of something to put in their unique category? It's okay if you weren't. You still have 4 or fewer years to make your unique mark on this school and in your community. Any other things that you have that are unique?
I've had my current career aspiration ever since I was 10.
So you've always wanted to be a doctor since you were 10 years old?
Well, if we're saying doctor, that's since 5, but
Since 5?
the specific one came up.
All right. So a lot of times there are multiple factors that are going to come in when you're applying to jobs in schools. The things that you can control while you're here, so volunteer experiences, things like owning a business, getting community outreach awards, and then things that you can't necessarily control, like being a first-generation college student. That's always something that looks good on an application, and it's something that more Rocky students have going for them than a lot of other schools. Your heritage, so say your mom is Native American, that makes you a completely unique person who's had a completely different perspective on life than a lot of other applicants. So start thinking about the things that make you unique and start playing to your strengths. Start thinking about how your different experiences have shaped your life so far, and especially how they shape what you want to do with your career. So say your mom passed away when you were 3 years old and you wish you could have done something about it. You always wish you could have done something about it. That's a life-changing thing that would make you want to be a doctor. But then things you can control, I've shadowed doctors for 100 hours, and every hour I spend with them is one more hour I realize that's where I want to be in my life. So start thinking about these experiences and how they're going to play into applications for jobs or for schools that you go into. So taking a step back, where you're going to get your grades for this class is you're going to turn in weekly write-ups. So the rule about these write-ups is I'm only going to accept them in the first 5 minutes of class. So you have to be in class and you have to be pretty close on time. Deal? I'm not requiring too much for this class, only that you be here and sit and listen respectfully. So then you get 10 points a week for attendance, and how I'm going to judge attendance is either by these sign-up sheets coming around, or I'm going to replace the sign-up sheet with a thank you card for last week's speaker. So I'll check and see how many people signed the thank you card, and that's where you're going to get your points. And then you're going to do a final presentation. I'm not sure what the group sizes are going to be. We have to see how many students pan out in this class. But what those group presentations are going to be is you're going to pair up with some like-minded individuals. So say you all want to be physical therapists. So you'll join up with other people who want to be physical therapists, and you'll do a presentation about how to become a physical therapist, what your daily life and that sort of thing is going to be like. Now, obviously, you don't need to pick those groups now because I want you to really keep an open mind throughout this semester and consider other jobs that you may not have even heard of before or you may have not even considered before. Sound good? So pretty straightforward, no tests, no quizzes. Come in here and listen respectfully, do a weekly write-up. So we'll do a weekly write-up this week already to get you into the swing of things, and I'll explain that at the end of class. Any questions about what you're being graded on, what I expect of you? Anything like that? Okay. So this is intended to be the first course in what I'm calling the medical careers pipeline. You certainly don't have to take the rest of these courses if you don't want to, but my plan is to expose you to all sorts of different careers during this course, and then there'll be a course offered next year that will allow you to investigate specific careers in the health sciences. So you'll get 1 credit for doing a volunteer experience and doing a shadowing experience. And you get to choose that volunteer experience, you get to choose that shadowing experience. So you get exposed to all the careers in this course, and then you go out and actually see what they're like daily life in the next course. So then the third course, which would be, if you're freshman now, your junior year, would be helping you put together an application for the job or the next school step that you need to get into. So this is going to be working on your resumes, giving you mock interviews, helping you study for the MCAT, that sort of thing. Questions about that? So again, completely voluntary if you want to do these other ones, but my whole goal in life is to get more successful applications out of Rocky to health careers. So more successful med school applications, more successful PA school applications. I want you to know what you need to do to get those jobs today, as soon as possible, so you can start beefing up your applications right away and be really competitive for those jobs. All right, so who all has used Moodle before? Everybody? Just about? Excellent. I don't have to spend a bunch of time explaining how to do it. If you don't know how to do it, this is how. You go to Moodle, you sign in, it's the same as your email, find this course, the key is job, and then part of your homework is just going to Moodle at some point this week. All the PowerPoints are going to be posted, a link to the YouTube channel is going to be posted, any news that I find or links that are going to be helpful to you. And this is where your grades are going to be posted. It's where you can look up assignments if you missed it. So plan on visiting the Moodle site at least once a week. Because I only really get to talk to you for extended amounts of time today, I'm going to use Moodle to communicate with you outside of class. All right, so you're in a good field right now. So STEM is now the acronym that's frequently used for science type careers. So science, technology, engineering, and math. So we call these STEM careers. So computers, engineering, health sciences, athletics, vet, all fall under this heading. So in the past 10 years, this number of jobs has grown 3 times faster than the number of jobs from other fields. So humanities are pretty stagnant, that sort of thing. And then in the next decade, nearly all of the 30 fastest growing jobs will require some STEM skills. And then there are expected to be more than 1.8 million STEM-related job openings in 2018, which is pretty good for you because you're going to start to graduate around then. So the bad news is you're probably going to have to go to more school. And we'll talk about what types of jobs you can get with just an undergrad degree in biology or a related field. But most of the time, these STEM jobs require, more than any other type of job, higher level degrees. So these are non-STEM jobs, and you can get about 40% of them without anything but a high school degree. So some college or associate degree you're going to need, and especially a bachelor's degree. This is from 2010, so these numbers are growing quickly. So you oftentimes need at least a master's degree, if not a PhD or an MD with a residency or that sort of thing to get these STEM jobs. Because even though they're growing in the United States, they're also attracting a lot of people from other countries. And every year, more and more people are getting undergrad degrees. Every year, more and more people are going to med school and to grad school. So they're getting more and more competitive. So this is what you're doing right now, getting your undergrad degree or a similar technical degree. Say you decided you wanted to leave Rocky and go to nursing school. Then the types of jobs you can get with just an undergrad or a technical degree would be things like dental assistants or hygienists. Technician jobs, so like an ultrasound technician or something like that, electricians or an IT person. There are some government jobs, so like at the Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, some environmental type jobs, or at state labs, that sort of thing. Just a nurse, you can go to nursing school instead of undergrad. It could be an EMT or a CNA, so these just have training programs. Teacher, so this is not college level. If you wanted to be a high school teacher or a middle school teacher, you could do that with a general biology degree. Engineers are still pretty lucky. They can get a lot of really good jobs with just their undergrad degrees. So my brother just graduated last year, and he's now an aerospace engineer with just an undergrad degree. You can be a microbiologist in a lab doing things like analyzing blood samples to see what sorts of diseases people have. You wouldn't be able to do any diagnosing, but you can do culturing and that sort of thing. So then your next option is to get an upper level degree. So to get a master's degree, you could put yourself in the realm of things like athletic trainers. Oftentimes high school teachers now have master's degrees. It adds a bump to their salary that a lot of them really appreciate, makes them more competitive. You can do things in public health, opens up new government jobs. You can often be a technician in a biotech company. It's a lot of assembly line type things, quality testing and that sort of thing. Genetic counseling, you can get with a master's degree. For a lot of the biological sciences, you don't end up going to a master's program. You go straight through to a PhD. And if you drop out halfway through, they give you a master's degree and send you on your way. What's nice about a lot of the biological science PhD programs is that they're paid for. You get your tuition and you get a stipend. The stipend's around $20,000 a year, so you're not making bank, but you're making it through without building up a bunch of debt. And once you get a PhD, things like professor, so that's my route, PhD to professor, researcher, higher level government jobs, working in biotech companies, running projects and that sort of thing. So this is a low debt route, but things like professor and government jobs, you're not going to make the money that an MD would make. So then instead of just a generic master's degree, you could go to a physician's assistant program, you could go to a physical therapy program, registered nurse, dental school, vet school, I guess I've registered nurse there twice, pharmacy, psychiatry, and these are often 2 or 3 year degrees, and then go out and get those specific jobs once you're done. These rack up debt, but not nearly as much debt as medical school. So medical school, you're going to have 4 years in med school, around 4 years of residency, up to 7 years of residency. But then you come out and you make $180,000 to $200,000 a year. You have $180,000 to $200,000 worth of debt, but you'll make that much in a year. The free way to go to med school is if you get an MD PhD. This is the longest you can possibly stay in school. So you do your med school, you do your residency, and you add a PhD onto it. So that's 8 years plus residency. So it's a very, very long program, but they pay for your med school, they pay you a stipend while you're there. The type of people that get MD PhDs are people that are interested in helping patients, but also want to do research-related things like run a clinical